Okay.
Hi, Mary. We're so happy to have you
Hello.
here to talk about your beautiful pattern, Saturnalia. I'm in love with it. It's the perfect weight for where I live. I can almost wear it year round. So I'm really excited to get it finished and start wearing it again. Um, but so how are things back on the East Coast? You're staying warm.
Yes. I mean, as long as we're above zero, we're fine. And usually just being here, we're so used to cold weather. It's like I'm more concerned about my heating bill than actually how cold it is.
Oh,
I've
I
got enough
can't
sweaters I can
imagine.
bundle up. So
That's it. I always say if it's cold, you can always put more clothes on. If it's too
mhm,
hot, there's nothing much you can do.
that's exactly it. Yes.
Yeah. So I've been looking in our Facebook group. We have a lot of people excited about knitting this sweater. And what I've been seeing in the group is people talking about the gauge and how they're getting too not enough stitches per the
Hmm.
inch or per 4 inches for their gauge. And I know there's another issue with the alpaca stretching a little bit as far as the length goes, but right now they're concerned about even after going down one needle size, they're still not small enough. They're still not down to the 28 stitches that the
Right.
gauge says. So give us some tips on how to navigate that.
I think going down a needle size is usually what will help. If it doesn't, then it's just grab the calculator or calculator function on your phone and take a look at how many stitches you are getting per inch and look then at if you need to go to the next size up in the sweater or the next size down. Whatever your gauge varies. A lot of times I'll double check as well when I'm designing. Okay, this is my gauge, but I need to get to this size. I will double check and crunch the numbers to do the math.
Mhm. So a lot of times, even if they've gone down in needle size, they need to then, if they're still not getting it, if they're still at maybe
Mhm.
26 or I want to look and see who I actually, some of the comments for, here's one lady, her 28 stitches came out 5 inches.
Okay.
So she should probably just go to the next size smaller pattern.
Yeah.
Size, I mean, the,
Hmm.
the same pattern, but the next smaller size.
Yeah.
Okay. And can you give us, uh, for those of us who are math challenged, which would be moi, um, can you give us like how you calculate, like if I'm getting, say I'm getting 26 stitches to 4 inches, what is the calculation that I should run?
Oh, geez. 26.
Oh,
Okay.
is that putting you on the spot?
No, totally. We can do this. I spent a lot of time with my calculator. So let's see as I get my app up. It's on my laptop as well. Um, I usually then break it down to stop that. So 26. So you're getting about 6.5 at that point, and you want to move to another size. I always then say if you've got 26 stitches in 4 inches, 26 divided by 4, it's getting you 6.5 stitches to the inch. So then, you have to look at when you see the list of finished sizes, what is going to get you closest to that.
So so you'd take the 6.5 stitches and then you'd
Hmm.
look and see how many stitches are, let me see, I'm looking at my pattern right
Yep.
here. So if I were saying, okay, I want to knit the medium, say, where's the cast on? What am I doing? Oh, cast on. So the medium is the third one over. Am I correct?
Yes, it is.
So I cast on 140 stitches. So then I would take that 140, divide it by the 6.5,
Hmm.
Okay. 140 divided by 6.5, and then I come out with 21.53 inches. Okay, but that's just for the yoke.
If you go further down in the pattern and find after you separate the sleeves from the body and get the body count, that sounded
Okay.
ominous. But if you get the
Yeah.
stitch count for the body,
The
because
body count.
primarily
I just realized what you said.
primarily what you want to do is make sure that's going to fit well with your personal, preference for ease in the body. So then if you follow through down to what is going to be the number of stitches for the body once you separate out the sleeves
So it's
and
252. Whoops. 252. It's 252, right? For my size for the medium.
mhm, let's see.
So 252 divided by 6.5, right?
And that
Gives
gives
me
you, yeah,
38.7, which is perfect for me.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. So that's thank you for that. I think that's going to
yeah,
help a lot
sure.
of people. It's
Yeah,
it's a fairly it's a fairly simple calculation, but you kind
hmm
of have to stop and take it step by step.
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Um, I loved the short rows. I loved how the neckline is just slightly lower in the front. I mean, it just turned
Hmm
out lovely. I love the look of it, how it squares off and makes this
Yeah.
nice, I just love that. And I'm hoping that my neck is, I did a German twisted cast on,
hmm
uh, because I wanted it to be a little wider like it was on the model. I'm thinking it might not be quite as wide on me because I didn't make the sweater maybe as large. If I would have made it a little bit larger, but I felt like, well, whatever. I felt like this one I wanted to fit a little bit tighter. What method do you use for getting rid of the jogs and the stripes?
You know what? I think I originally wrote it out. Um, there is there is a knitting instructor on YouTube. Doggone it, I'm gonna get her name for you. Oh, no, I know it. It's Nancy Wynn, Wynn. She is actually local to the Twin Cities. And she has a lot of great technique videos. And she does one whole technique on how to do jogless stitches. So basically what you do is you join your next color and work one whole round. Move your stitch, beginning of round stitch marker, and with that first stitch, you're going to go grab the loop from the row below, put it on with your new color, and knit those two together.
Okay.
And, and then
That's what
and
I've been
then
doing.
yeah. And that's honestly what I've always done. Then she also gives an excellent tutorial of how to weave your ends in to kind of mitigate that jog as well.
Oh, okay.
So that can make the difference. But yeah, it's usually just knitting that first stitch with the row below, and that will help with your jog.
Okay. Perfect. Well, that's what I'll do. I'll continue doing. I think I missed one or two jogs in the beginning, maybe one.
Honestly, with the
Um,
really skinny stripes, I don't even do it.
I know I missed it there. Let's see. Yeah, the skinny stripes kind of, you can see it doesn't really work very well
Hmm
in the skinny
Yeah.
one because there's too much going on. But you can
It
see on where's the next one? See the next one, it works really well.
Yeah. The wider the stripe, the better it works. That's also the reason I moved the beginning of round marker over to where the raglan was, because it wouldn't be as obvious as having jogs in the middle of your back.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that
No,
noticeable.
once you have it on, you won't see it.
No, 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 no. Okay. Well, are there any other things to look out for? I mean, other than that, it's pretty straightforward.
It's really straightforward. The only thing that I found very interesting, and fun fact, models aren't just tall and thin, they have very long limbs. And even I can knit long sleeves and they somehow always end up like this on the model. these sleeves, if you notice with putting those pearl borders in with the prairie, it kind of gives it an accordion effect where it will kind of go, but also pull down. Um, I think especially when you're knitting it and trying it on for sleeve length, just double check that because it will either it'll creep up, but you can also stretch it out as well.
Okay. Okay. And if you're like me, I like to just kind of push. So I'm going to really love this because I love to
Yeah.
just push my,
Hmm.
sleeves up. I like them long and then I like to just push them up just a little ways on my arm. So, oh,
Yeah.
I'm going to love that. And so is there a ton of length stretching or is it just a little bit? And can you kind of block it by pushing it up, encouraging it to not be long?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of blocking, if you want to block length into it, you totally could. But you could also just, what I do, especially on these sweaters, typically I won't wet block them. I actually just steam block them. And whether it's on, typically it's on a dressmaker form, I have access to one, so that's what I use. But yeah, I think if you wet block it, you may be in danger of stretching it longer. So if anything, I would just steam block it and let it just keep its bounce to pop up.
Okay. And so then after you wash it, like when it needs to be washed, like
Oh yeah,
normal, you would just carefully dry it, just tight
right.
together, not stretching it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, Karen, welcome. Let's have you unmute.
I'm supposed to be here at 4:30.
Oh, that's great. We actually started it at before on the hour, so at noon or 4 o'clock your time.
Okay.
But that's not a problem. We've recorded it all, so I'll be posting it on YouTube, and you can go back and catch what
Hmm.
you've missed. What we went through is the gauge, how to get your gauge, what to do if you don't get the gauge, and how to figure out which size to knit.
Okay.
So that's what we've covered already. Is there anything that you're particularly wanting to find out today?
Yeah, I was stuck at the short rib directions.
Oh, the short row?
Right. The short
Okay.
row.
All
Um,
right.
I'm not sure what directions I'm supposed to be going into. I mean, I understand row one and row two. I don't know why in row two I'm sliding the marker.
Oh, because you're going
What?
past it. So to work your way back, you're going to
Uh,
slip the marker.
oh, so you're going in the back direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then in row three, y okay, you're doing the same back and forth, but
Mm-hmm.
extending it a little bit. Okay,
Yeah.
I think I
So
understand.
you're knitting it. I don't know if this helps, but you're knitting it past this middle of back marker. Your marker
Okay,
is kind of here
Yeah.
in the middle back, and so you're knitting past and then back, past, and then
okay, okay. Yeah.
back and forth. Yeah, I was just telling Mary it makes the most beautiful neckline, or at least
Uh-huh. Yeah,
it just makes a really nice neckline.
right.
Are you doing the wrap and turns or are you doing German short rows?
I would do the wrap and turn. I mean, I don't have any experience with this really. So I
Oh,
found
okay.
some videos on YouTube. Um, and I'll try to work my way through that.
Yeah, well, if you have any trouble, are you in the Facebook group?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Pop your questions in there. I try to get in there every day or two.
Uh-huh.
Um, and so I'll be able to, you know, help you to the best of my ability. And then we always have the next session. But I think, yeah, if you've got, I mean, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there on how to do all these different techniques. So
Uh-huh.
um, I don't know, what do we do before that?
Yeah, I've knitted up to that part, and that And I'll also, when we go to the bigger needles, make sure that it will fit over my head. The opening.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
I don't know if it's too short, too, not large enough.
Well, what kind of a cast on did you use?
I use the long tail.
Mhm. And I think Woolstock Light, it has a lot of give, doesn't
Yeah.
it? It just has a lot of nice.
I honestly, I typically use a long tail cast on when I do a neckline.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Especially if you don't want it to stretch out, you
Yeah.
kind of want it to be.
Hmm.
I
Right.
specifically use the German twisted because I wanted it to be a little bit more boat-like if possible.
Hmm.
I wanted it to be a little looser. I mean, I live where it's warm, so I wanted that
Right.
that
Yeah.
that look. So,
Right.
and your gauge, you're good with your gauge?
Well, I went down a size needle and a size because I was six
Oh, yeah,
inches,
yeah.
six
Hmm.
stitches to the inch.
Oh,
I
I was
Yeah,
talking to you in the Facebook group.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Okay.
But with Blue Sky, I've always had problems with the gauge having to go
Yeah.
down.
Having to go down a size. Yeah, I've actually heard that from other people as well, that the sizes are very generous and that a lot of times people need to go down.
Yeah.
Is that something that Blue Sky does on purpose to make
Hmm.
things
No.
no?
It really depends. It honestly, it depends on the gauge of the designer. And then the tech editor takes it from there. And then she will go through and because editor always physically has the piece. She gets our written pattern, but she also gets the piece and she will go through and double check and count everything. So a lot of it is just because of the gauge of who the designer is.
Hmm.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah. Yeah, well, we all need to do maths. We all need to do that so that we know how it's going to fit on us. And I think the more we knit sweaters, the more we're kind of it's like, okay, well, this is not a big deal. I'll
Hmm.
figure it out. I'll go through the process that Mary and I talked about at the beginning of this recording. And then I think once you do that, you kind of take ownership of it a little bit more, right, Mary? I kind
Oh
of
yeah.
feel that way for myself.
Mhm. Oh, for sure. Yeah, because you know you're understanding your own gauge and how you knit and how well it's going to fit. And doing that math is very important. I was asked, oh, years ago, what have you learned most as a knitter? I said, when I was in high school, and I said, when am I going to use algebra? I use a lot of algebra.
Oh,
And I think
do
yeah, and when you think about doing all of this, if you have 26 stitches in 4 inches, how many stitches to the inch? And then how many stitches for a sweater? So those are all good practices for everyone to learn.
right. I'm going to use that a lot more myself now that I've kind of walked through that with you.
Hmm.
So that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Karen, how do you feel? You feel
Well,
ready to go?
I'm ready to go with the wrap and turn, and hopefully it will turn out.
Hopefully it will turn.
Yeah.
There are really good tutorials online for wrap and turn. One of my favorites, I love watching Patty Lyons. She just really perfects so many techniques. I always find I learn something from her, just even following her on social media. But her wrap and turn video is excellent and
Hmm.
it's really nice and smooth. Um, if you're a rebel and want to do lazy short rows,
Uh-huh.
which I have done, and I actually kind of figured out that I enjoy. Stephen West
How do you spell
also
his
does.
last
How are
name?
they how are they
You,
different from
you never wrap
German
your stitch. Now,
German short rows?
I've never learned a German short row, but the lazy short row is basically you get to it, just turn, you're not wrapping a stitch. Once you go back to close the gap, you go to the stitch the row below, pull it up, and knit the two together.
Okay, that's different than German.
Yeah. And
The German, you just,
he calls it a lazy short row, which is actually kind of fun.
yeah, yeah, I'm going to look that up. I love German short rows personally. I just, they're so easy. And
Hmm.
as you can see, they work really well.
Yeah.
Um,
And the thing
uh,
I'll always say too, knitters should feel empowered. If you don't like doing wrap and turns, do a German short row. If you want to
mhm.
do a lazy short row, as long as you use the technique you're most comfortable with to get your desired outcome, that's a-okay.
Mhm. Yeah, I totally hear you. Just a note out there to anybody who does use a German short row. If you want to substitute a German short row for a wrap and turn pattern, make sure you knit one more stitch than what the pattern says before you make your turn. So if it says to knit 47, knit 48, and then turn and do your little pull, tuck, pull on it.
Yeah.
So,
I did have one question on that, just what you're talking about now. Um, at the very row one, it says knit 47. So do you do the wrap and turn on stitch 48 or on 47?
On stitch 48.
On stitch 48. Okay,
Hmm.
great.
okay,
Okay.
well, if that's everything for today, we'll sign off. But if you're watching this video, or Karen, if you run
Yeah.
into any problems, make sure you hop into the Facebook group.
Hmm.
Um, and I'll go in there and try to help solve problems. And then excuse me, we'll give you a little time to get knitting on the sweater, and then in a couple of weeks we'll meet again and
Okay.
see
You
how
know what
everything's going.
I thought it was at 4:30 because you said it said Eastern Standard Time was 4:30.
Um, it's 12 o'clock Pacific time. So
Huh.
let me look. Maybe perhaps there's something wrong. I'll have to check. Perhaps there's
Because
something wrong in the things. I'm
there
sorry.
should be more people here, probably.
Yeah, a
So,
lot of people did sign up, but yeah. Okay. I'll check
yeah.
that, Karen, for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mary, you were going to
Thank you.
say.
Just one last thing. And I always forget to mention this. And when I was at a speaking for a guild, happened to have two ladies walk up wearing one of my designs, which I almost fell over. And I always say, and whether it's me, whether it's any other designer out there, when you post your photos online, make sure to tag the designers. Obviously, tag Blue Sky Fibers because I work for them, but tag the designers. We love seeing our sweaters out in the world, or sweaters, or accessories, whatever it is that we design. So, yeah, make sure to tag because I always love reposting when people are working on one of my patterns.
Absolutely. I'll make
Yeah.
sure to remember that. If I catch
Yeah,
any, I'll remember to share them and tag you.
awesome. That'd be great.
Okay.
Okay. Fantastic. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate so much
You're
you coming
welcome.
to
Absolutely.
it means the world to have you, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. And
Thanks.
Karen, I hope to see you in the group. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Right?
That's right.
Okay. So nice to see everybody. Um, so does everybody have, let's see, who was it? Was it Ellen? Who was I talking to that? No, it was Colleen. Is she here today? She's not here quite yet. Okay, she's the one who didn't have yarn. And Cindy, you have beautiful quilting behind you. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Oh, here's Colleen. Gorgeous quilting. And Teresa, how are you today?
I'm well. How are you doing?
Great, great. Thank you. Has everybody else been on another one of our knit-alongs?
Not me, no.
Not you. Okay.
No,
Well, welcome, welcome. We're
thank you.
so happy to have you here. It's wonderful to see you. Julie, I've seen you before, right?
I don't think so.
Don't think so. Okay. I'm sorry.
I've done some other knit-alongs, but not with
Not
Disney
this
Knitter.
one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, regardless, we're really happy to have you here today. And as I said just really briefly before, we got the time messed up in our communications, and so the designer was here at noon, and she and I had a nice talk, and I asked some of the questions that had come up in the Facebook group. So you'll be able to see that, but we can also talk about them again here today. So um, has everybody started? Maybe we'll just start out with that.
No, I haven't gotten my yarn yet.
No, yeah,
I
yeah.
just
I've
signed up
only
like
just
yesterday.
barely started.
I
Oh,
just
great.
wound my yarn up, so I haven't started yet. I haven't cast
Yeah,
on.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
there's no schedule. Everybody's, we just do as it works out. In fact, I'm not knitting very quickly. I'm only down to here, and I get kind of um waylaid along the way. But it's really a fun sweater to knit. It's really quite easy. I love the weight of the sweater because I live here in Southern California, so this is kind of a year-round. I live near the coast, and so this is kind of like a year-round weight for me. Um, I wear sweaters like this all but the just for a few weeks in the summer. So this is like the Goldilocks sweater for me. So I'm really excited about it too.
So I was thinking where this is a lightweight sweater and I don't want to have to wash it all the time. I might get some like silk t-shirts to go underneath because you don't want anything heavy under this.
No, no, no. Yeah, that's a really good idea. That's funny you should say that, but that crossed my mind too of not wanting to have to wash it all the time. Yeah, yeah. So what colors are people making their sweaters in?
I'm doing time, and I honestly don't remember the name of the white that I'm doing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Prairie. It's what's the name of it? Anyway, yeah,
The
it's
yarrow,
pretty.
I'm doing Loon Lake and yarrow, which is the off-white.
Yarrow is
Okay.
the whitish. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And
I
so you
have the
got
like maroonish or merlot color and kind of gray. The yarn's beautiful. I just kind of wound it up into balls today. It's so gorgeous. So I can't wait.
gorgeous yarn, has a lot of beautiful elasticity in it. It just feels good in your hands. And I just love the little bit of halo that the prairie gives. It's not, you can kind of see it here. It's just a little bit, but just enough to just, yeah, yeah. It's really a scrummy sweater. So, questions. Are most of you have been in the Facebook group? And if
No.
not,
No.
go ahead and hop in there so that if you have any questions in between times, I'll be able to help you in between
Okay.
the knit-alongs.
Is that where you're going to put the video with the designer, the recording?
I'll put it on the YouTube channel here.
Okay.
Let me. It's just the Dizzy Knitter, but I can give you the link to the YouTube channel. Oh, hold on. So here is the link. I'm putting it in the chat. And again, it's just the Dizzy Knitter. So even if you don't have the link, you can go to YouTube and look it up. And yeah, I'll put the video in there. So you'll be able to listen to her talk about the different things with the gauge and different issues that people have been talking about in the Facebook group. And I'm happy to talk about that again. I also got like 26 inches or 26 stitches to 4 inches. So I went down a size, and what we did and what we came up with, so this will be a repeat of that, is if you go to the pattern on page, oh dear, did my iPad die? Oh, shoot. I don't know that I have a pattern printed out. Well, I'll just talk you through it. I'll plug it in here, but I'll just talk you through it. Um, if you, if you go to where the sleeves separate in the pattern, where the sleeves separate from the body, and find out the number of stitches you're supposed to have. I think the medium one that I'm knitting was 250 some stitches. So take however many stitches that you got for your 4-inch, the width. The length, don't worry about. We can always do longer, shorter, whatever. Don't worry about that part. But if you got 27, 26, 25, whatever stitches in your 4-inch swatch, divide that into 4. Mine was 26, so it came out 6.5 stitches to an inch. And then we take the 254 or whatever, I can't,
52, I think it is.
52, okay.
52, yeah.
Thank you. The 252 stitches to the body and divide that by 6.5. And then it came out to 38.7 inches or whatever, which was just perfect for the size that I wanted, with a little bit of a little bit of ease. Not a lot, but a little bit. And so that's the process you just go through. So it's really quite simple. If you want to go down a needle size, I wouldn't go down tons of needle sizes. 2 is like tops, but you know, I really like the fabric that I'm getting here. It's light and I just really like it. So I'm glad that I didn't go down a needle size and just went down a pattern size. So does that make sense?
Mhm.
It won't make sense until I actually stumble through it.
Yeah.
Sit down and
But
think about it.
Couldn't you also do that calculation and just go to a different size?
That's what I said. I went down one size.
Oh, not on the
so
needles, but on the pattern size.
I went down one pattern size and not one needle size. You can go down one needle size. I mean, it just has to do with your knitting and how you want to approach it.
Is
So
it
you
running
started-
large for most people then right now, or?
I think so. At least that's the talk in the Facebook group.
Okay.
The gauge swatches were running large,
Yeah.
which could
Okay.
make the sweater run large.
Yeah. Your sweater would be too big. So
Okay.
so
I was debating between the small and the medium size, but maybe I should make the small, because that's actually the big question I had. I couldn't, her sizing.
did you do a swatch yet?
No, I haven't even started anything
Oh,
yet.
okay, yeah.
I started nothing.
Do
So.
do a swatch, see what you come up with. I wouldn't be surprised if you came, you know, my knitting is often quite on, you know, I'm not too tight or too loose. And so I'm too big on this. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if you also turned out a little bit, it turned out a little bit large on yours as well.
How much ease is, I mean, the sweater as shown on the model, which is just so cute. How much, it doesn't look like there's a ton of ease on that. Is there any like standard
Let me
ease?
see if it says, no, it's not standard. My guess is there's only about 2 inches of ease.
Mm-hmm.
But what do you want? You know, that's
Yeah.
what I would go to is, let me find, I can get the pattern up here, I think.
I mean, I tend to knit tightly, so I don't want it like too tight. But I don't want it loose, you know, I want the nice fit, right?
Yeah, you want the Goldilocks fit.
Well, I mean,
Exactly.
I've only done one sweater top down, but the nice thing about top down is you can try it on as you go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as soon
And
as
then what
I,
happens though, if you try it on and it's too tight?
Well, then you just start decreasing a little bit.
well,
So
if
like,
it's too big.
try the
It's
neck.
too big. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I
Ooh.
tried it on and I'm like, okay, I like this. See, what was
I
the
mean,
question?
it's not
Oh, I was,
blocked or anything at that point, but it gives you a sense at least. It works
Yeah.
sort of okay for my last sweater.
exactly. And Mary mentioned something that I also was planning on doing. I like to steam my things instead of wet blocking them if at all possible. So the last thing we knit, the Fia pullover, the last knit along we did, that one felt like it needed to be wet blocked, but this one just feels like a nice steaming will work very well, and it won't stretch out the alpaca sections as much, so it won't affect the length as much. If you wet block, I think it's more likely to go out of shape. That doesn't mean that you can't wash it and wet block it eventually. I mean, obviously it'll have to be used, but you're not going to probably have to stretch it out. You'll probably have to kind of fluff it in together to.
So how would you steam block? You would pin it first to the measurements and then just run like a steam.
A hand steamer. I just have a little
Okay.
hand steamer that I run over it. Okay, I do that. That's one way of doing it. Mary mentioned the way she does it is she puts it on her little mannequin and she steams it while it's hanging on the mannequin. Yeah, I hadn't tried that, but I think I will on this one just because it'd be interesting to see what happens with that.
Did she have a preferred cast on method?
She just used the long tail.
Okay.
I wanted the neck to be really stretchy. You see how it's on the, let's see, on the model. Well, I guess it's not really a boat neck. I kind of wanted more of I didn't want it, right up close. So I did
Okay. I was going to do the German long tail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
German twisted cast.
I know which one you mean.
Yeah. And if any of you wants to see, you can see, I have a little tutorial on how to do that. I mean, there's a million tutorials everywhere, but it's on my new YouTube channel. So how you do that. I like that.
I use it for socks all the time and I knit a lot of socks. So
it's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, it's so, I mean, this yarn is nice and forgiving and it has a lot of elasticity to it anyway, but the I just really wanted that loose cast on. She just used the long tail on hers. Oh, kitty.
Oh yeah, I have 4 and they love yarn. So.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, any other questions?
No.
Is everybody?
I just had a question for Julie, actually. Julie, could you hold up your yarn colors again?
Sure.
I was
The rusted roof.
Yes. I was thinking of that color combination, but I ended up going with what they show, which I also I couldn't get past the what is the buff colored version on that? What is that called? Prairie? I couldn't get past the prairie. I love that color so much.
Yeah, the prairie's nice.
Yeah. But I'm going to be very curious to see your end result because I love that color combination also.
Yeah, I think with kits, choosing colors combinations is the hardest.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, and then I see all of your combinations, and I want one in each of them, and I need to hire somebody.
If we like doing the sweater, maybe we can do it.
I really hate knitting with like black and dark grays because I can't see them as well. So that's why I went with lighter colors.
No, that was smart. This is it's midnight sea, it's called, so it's really very dark. And at night, when I knit at night, I have to bring over a craft light and put it right directly over me, or else I'm completely blind.
Oh, I guess I could ask, when she's switching colors, is she literally cutting and restarting a color, or is she carrying it over?
No, just the stripes aren't too long. We just carry.
That's what I figured. So she's just carrying it over. Okay.
Yeah.
So just don't pull it too tight.
Of weaving in.
Yeah.
That's great because that otherwise it would be like a gazillion ends and it would drive me crazy.
Yeah.
One thing I was interested in learning about was the jogless technique. I just finished a sweater that I guess would be considered a fair-all sweater, very simple, and so I had never done one before. And so when it's done and I was blocking it, it was driving me crazy that there was that little disconnect. So I took a class, so I went to the teacher and she said, "Oh, that's just normal. Nobody's going to notice that." but it
Mm.
was bugging me to death. So
Mhm.
when I saw this class and she said she's going to be going over her jogless technique, I thought that would
Yeah,
be interesting.
that was actually me because we just did
Oh,
that.
okay.
Um, what I'm trying to think of the easiest way to show you. My camera, my second camera isn't working, so I don't have it set up. So let me find you a yeah, this is perfect. Here we go. This is the one that this is how I did mine on the last Fair Isle sweater that knit along that we did.
Okay.
And you knit around with your new color,
Mhm.
and then when you get to the end, you slip your stitch marker, you
Right,
slip your
right.
beginning marker in the round, and then you go to the next stitch, you just take the row before the right leg of the stitch below and put it up on your needle and
Okay.
knit through both of those loops. And
Okay.
it's like magic. I could show you. Let's see. Well, I'll show you
Yeah.
here. And then I'll give you this link to Nancy's. Okay, I'll show you how I didn't do it. Here, let me make it bigger. So I didn't do it. I did it on the first one, and then I forgot on the second one. You see the jog there?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then I did it on the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of
Makes
hard
such a
to hold it
difference.
up. But
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it works really well to do that. And so here is the link to this is the woman that Mary said to check
Okay.
out her video on how to do this technique that I just said. Go down. So yeah, it just makes a really nice different, and it's on I believe it's the back right raglan, I believe, is the one where the join ends up being.
Oops.
So
I
it's not
somehow
very.
I somehow got out of this. Let me see if I can get back in. Hey. Sorry about that. I'm
No,
not real adept with the links and
Oh,
copying them.
true. You don't have to worry about.
links are tricky on uh, Zoom, I've noticed. So yeah. Okay. So are there
So
any?
I'm sorry.
I was just
Where
going to say,
can
any
where
other
can
questions?
we yeah. Where can we find the link after we close the Zoom meeting? Are they
I will
on your
put
website?
it on the the YouTube video recording of this. I'll put it down below
Oh,
Okay,
good.
in the
perfect. Thank
description.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the video of the designer already there? I looked. I didn't see it.
No, I
Okay,
haven't. I just
gotcha.
completed it. I have to.
That makes sense. I
In
just wanted
fact,
to
I'm
make sure.
going to edit them so that they're together so that it's just one video.
Okay.
So that might take me a couple hours to. I don't usually do that, so it might take me a half a minute to do that.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other questions?
I just can't wait for the yarn to get here.
Well, let me see. Can I see where it is? Let me see.
I just ordered it. I got the prompt yesterday. I signed up for the knit along and then ordered the kit. So I haven't even checked my shop yet to see.
Yeah, it's on its way,
Oh, good.
but I don't think it's left. Yeah, it's been picked up, and probably tomorrow or the next day you'll get an update as to where it is. So you should have it.
Within a few days. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll take a few days, yeah. Depending on where you live. Oh yeah.
I live in Philly.
Yeah, it'll take a few days. I've noticed with all this weather that things have both been delayed for us sending and us receiving, a lot of delays. Lots and lots of delays. So is everyone making the sweater for themselves?
I am. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. I can't wait to, like I said, I can't wait to finish it. I can't wait to wear it. Oh, another thing Mary said was that to check when you knit the sleeves, well, I guess you'll watch it, so maybe I shouldn't try to interpret it again. But when you knit the sleeves, the stripes can kind of accordion back in. So you can, just watch the length as you're knitting the sleeves. Maybe try them on and make sure that they're where you want them. But even if they're just a smidge too long, you can accordion them back up. Personally, I like to scoop my sleeves up just a tad. Um, and this sweater will do that nicely because of the prairie will just sort of fold in on itself. Those garter ribs kind of create an accordion effect. Anyway, like I said, you'll see that in her talk.
So is there a certain spot where you want us to be by the time we meet again?
No,
It's
these
pretty
are
much everybody at their own pace and
yeah, this is kind of every knitter for themselves. This isn't a structured class. I leave everyone to. I just pulled stitches off my needle.
Mm.
Um, I Everyone can knit as they like. The main thing I would say is, and you're already in the Facebook group, if you're not in the Facebook group, to join, because then if the knit along is finished and you're not finished with the sweater and you come up with a question, you can ask. I try to hop in there every day or two to answer. If you don't hear something right away, just hang on and I will get back in. And also in between, like if you run into something between now and the next knit along, you can ask and have your questions answered. So just do it at your own pace. And I just want to make sure that we kind of get through all of the little things that people might have questions about before the knit along's over. But I mean, if you've knit top down sweaters before, it's really not a complicated sweater as sweaters go. The main reason is I just wanted people to know that one little trick to the jogless, stripes, and possibly to the cast on if you'd like to make it a little looser. And, we can talk about the gauge, but, other than that, it's not really a complicated sweater. Do any of you, for sleeves, what do you use? Do you like magic loop, DPNs? What's everybody's preference?
For what? For sleeves?
Uh-huh.
Like when you take them off, take the stuff.
Well, when it gets down too small, do you like to
Oh.
use DPNs or do you like to do the magic loop technique, or what does everybody like to?
I haven't done a long sleeve sweater yet. I've only done cap sleeves, so I don't know. I'll find out.
Okay. Well, with socks, do you do magic loop or?
I actually use a really small 9-inch circular
Okay.
for
Well,
Oh,
then
my socks.
yeah.
you might be fine then for most of the sleeve.
Sometimes I'll do small things with 2 circulars because it's easier to not drop that than it is to not drop a double pointed needle.
I did that once, the 2 circulars. I keep forgetting about that. I like that. Yeah.
I
So-
use double point
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the time. So,
Um, describe, how do you say your name? Is it Carissa?
Carissa.
Carissa. I've heard about these needles where you don't have to, they're so small that you don't have to use double points. What are they called?
They're just a 9-inch circular, so it's just
It's
a
a
9-inch
9-inch
length.
circular.
Yeah, and I don't have it for this, so I do have double points for this because my 9-inch circular is a size 1, not a size 3 or a 5. So I do my socks on size 1. My cat's in my lap. Hold on, I can go get it.
Oh, I don't know. I think the rule is you don't disturb a kitty, a sleeping
Yeah.
kitty. I I
She'll
lost
pay
my
for that later.
I, I lost my kitty of 14, 15 years. I lost her a few months ago. It's just
Oh,
I just finished
it's
a pair,
tough.
so I don't have anything on the needle right now, but this is it.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And you can actually, it actually
Yeah, I
works.
actually like it. I mean, you just use your fingertips. Like if you're using your whole hand on your needle,
Yeah,
it won't
yeah.
be very comfortable, but you just use your fingertips. It's I just love it. Yeah. My favorite way of knitting socks.
Yeah. I
Huh.
bet you'll be just fine for the sleeves. Oh, except yeah, that's right. Your size
I
1.
didn't buy a
Yeah.
9-inch for 3 and 5.
Hmm. But they're readily available. I mean,
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I just got this online.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't carry them, but yeah, you can get them. Look on Amazon even.
This is a Chiagu red lace, which
Yeah.
the red lace is nice because it's so bendy. It's not very stiff. And so I think
Yeah.
for a small
Yes.
circle, it works better because it's very flexible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried socks on like Magic Loop or
Yeah.
I guess I did double points a long time ago, but Magic Loop, I don't get the connection
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's a tutorial on my site that I think makes it really easy. You might want to take a look at it. If
Yeah. But the
you're
2
fine.
circular needles also sounds interesting. I think
Yeah.
that would be sort of kind of cool to do. All right, my cat's coming back. I can't see her for
Oh,
2 seconds. Come on.
oh, what is it? A he or a she?
It's a he.
Oh,
I
it's a
sit in the chair and he
tabby.
has to get in my lap like immediately. It's like his yeah.
Surprised he's
Oh,
not messing with your keyboard. My cat, when she's in my lap, will type out things and
oh, so sweet. So is
so
everybody? Oh,
are
go
you
ahead.
the dizzy knitter?
I am. I
Are
am.
you? Oh, okay. Oh, this is thrilling.
Where in
Okay.
California are you located?
I'm located in Ventura, just south of Santa Barbara
Okay.
on the coast, and my warehouse is in Vegas.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
My daughter runs my warehouse and runs the shipping and everything, and so we're split up like that.
I was hoping you were near places that we go, but you're not. My mother-in-law is in Davis, and so we're there and in San Francisco once in a while.
Yeah, San Francisco's lovely. Yeah, I don't have a brick and mortar. I'm just online right now, and don't have plans for a brick and mortar. So that way I can get to know people from across the, United States, and yeah, it's been really fun.
Do you think a swatch like this is true? I'm terrible. I never do swatches. I'm so lazy, but I'm debating what I should do here. But because you're going to knit the swatch back and forth, whereas the sweater I'm going to knit in the round, so it's all knit versus knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl.
Knit in the round, knitted in the round. Do you know how to
Knit the
do that?
swatch in the round? Oh, okay.
Hmm. You knit,
No, not really.
you
You're not connecting it then.
yeah, it's connected with, how can I show you? Do I have anything on needles that I can? maybe this I can use. Let's see. Oh shoot, I was binding off of this. I was showing somebody how to do the Italian bind off. So here, let me see if I can do this without a camera. Next time I'll have the camera set up. But you knit your, say this is a little swatch, so I'll knit a row and then I'll pull, so then I'll pull it out and keep knitting around. Oh gosh, so hard to like pat in my head. You just, I can't, I'm sorry, I can't show you how without having a camera and having it set up right. But what you end up with, and I'll get a YouTube video, is you end up with a swatch with all these ends here.
Oh, okay. You're just looping it around basically.
Yeah, you just keep going and looping it around. Let me find a.
So you slide it from one end. You keep
knitting
or whatever it's calling for. You just
Okay.
keep sliding the needle back and forth.
Keep
and then
sliding the needle and then just pull this, and you kind of, for the first stitch, I give it a, I kind of hang on to it to make sure there's enough, give that it will lie flat then. And then you can cut them.
Right.
Or if you want to use the yarn, which I like to do, I try to make it long enough so I don't have to cut it, and I can, But let's find that as well.
No, I understand what you're saying. You're just basically carrying a loose loop all the way around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that just made me think of something else when it said to do the gauge in the stripe sequence. But I was knitting it flat, not in the round. But the sweater's intended to be in the round.
That's why it was
where
weird.
it said knit, I knit. But I should be changing that for every other row if I'm knitting it flat, because that could affect the gauge, right?
Yeah, if you knit flat and you don't do what she's just said, you'd have to knit purl.
I knit the gauge flat, but I'm going to knit the sweater in the round.
Right.
So, well, luckily I have not torn out my gauge. I can take a look at it. That's on a different ball of yarn. So I think I'm just going to re-knit it.
Yeah, the directions didn't make it clear that you should do the gauge in the round.
They didn't. It didn't say that. I think
that's why it didn't make sense to me when I did. Yeah.
That could be why our gauges are off.
It could be. Yeah, it could be. And that's interesting.
So you'll unwind your gauge and then reuse that yarn for the actual sweater?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do if I'm afraid I'm going to run out.
Yeah. I'm always afraid I'm going to run out, which is why I never do a gauge.
Well, I usually not done gauges because I did the gauges and I was always spot on. So why waste my time? I just want to get down to the project where it's done. But the last sweater I did was a disaster, but that was because of the yarn, not because of the gauge. The body fit okay, but the sleeves, it's a yarn that feels beautiful. It's not from the Dizzy Knitter. And this yarn just feels wonderful, but it stretches when you block it.
Mm.
And I ended up with sleeves that looked like they were going to be just right. And when I blocked it, they're like 6 inches too long. And I'm just like, okay, I will never buy that yarn for a sweater again.
Mm-hmm. Can you try to reblock it, get it wet again, and then scrunch?
I was really careful when I was blocking it. And this company also has a Facebook group, and everybody there says, yeah, you have to be careful when you block it. Don't make things too big, because when you block it, it's going to be really too big. And I'm like, I don't have time to deal with something like that fussy. I can use this yarn for scarves or something, but I'm not going to do sweaters with their yarn again.
Yeah. Sometimes the steaming helps that not to happen. That was said kind of awkwardly, but sometimes if you steam it, you're not going to make it grow quite as.
Yeah. But then if you wear it and you spill something, you might have to.
You need to wash it. Yeah.
Or dry clean it.
Yeah. Do you have good luck dry cleaning your hand knit sweaters?
I've never done it because I don't trust the dry cleaners.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I did that one time and it basically felted it.
Wow.
Ooh,
So I get it back and it's, tight.
Ruined.
And part of the beauty of it was that the yarn was a little wild and full and that disappeared. It looked like you remember the boiled wool jackets?
yeah.
That's what it looked like. It was like, oh,
Yeah, yeah, I've been afraid to do that as well. But so I put the link for how to knit a gauge swatch in the round, and again, I will put that link also on the post. But give me a little bit of time to get these two videos put together.
I won't be looking till tomorrow. Anyway,
Okay.
today's my birthday, so we're going out for dinner with my son
Oh,
and
very
daughter.
nice.
happy birthday.
So I
Happy
said, I have
birthday.
done nothing today other than I spent the morning writing, and then I went and turned on the TV and did some yarn winding and knitting, and then this, and then we're going out to eat. And that's just called like,
Sounds
I
like
just
the
did what I
perfect
wanted to
day.
do.
Yes, can I have that day every day? That's perfect.
I might
Yeah.
do the same thing tomorrow.
There you go. There you go. Sounds like fun. Oh gosh. So, Julie, any
Yes.
questions?
No, I think we're good.
You're
I
all
think I
good to go?
got it. I think so.
Okay. It's not difficult, but it's fun to talk over all the little,
It's helpful just to get these little tips because
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
I get to that point and I'm like, wait, how should I do this? And then I'll make something up, but it's nice to
yeah,
get some
yeah,
advice.
yeah.
The gauge was driving me nuts with the striping technique with the knit and then your purl row, and it just didn't look right. So it makes sense that it's in the round.
in the round. Yeah, we didn't think of that I'm really glad somebody brought that up here because we didn't. Mary and I, neither one thought of it in the last video. So, and I know we both know how to do it. And just,
Yeah, what you were describing earlier, where you divide because I have a feeling that my gauge is going to be off one way or the other. So I may be posting in the Facebook group at some point when I get to
just
that
for a
point.
little advice on
Yeah,
here's my
yeah.
gauge, what size. Yeah. Okay. I'm happy to. I'll keep an eye out, and I'm happy to put my 2 cents in. And how, it depends too on how loose you want it. I feel like this sweater is going to look a little bit better, just a little bit, maybe just two, no more than three tops, just a little bit less. I don't like it when the sleeves start bagging underneath here, if it's too big, when it's supposed to fit tightly. I mean, if it's supposed to be an oversized, I love for it to, anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you have to get that balance where it's not baggy, but you don't look like a stuffed sausage.
Yes,
either.
exactly. Yes. That's always my challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is my first time knitting a sweater in fingering weight. And I just found myself saying, what on earth am I doing that I now have 2 projects going in fingering weight?
You need a palette cleanser. You need something in Aran or something.
A chunky yarn.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm surprised it's gone faster than I thought, in fingering. It's lovely.
Yeah, it's so much easier when it looks really good, and you're pleased with the yarn you're working with, and especially those stripes are going to keep it interesting, I think.
Yeah.
There's
And
And
the 20
feels
colors.
delightful. My swatch just felt so nice. And I showed it to my husband and he felt it. He said, oh, I like that.
I know. Isn't it all about the texture? There was a lady on
Yeah.
the last knit along last Saturday who said, she says, I think I like feeling the yarn more than I like even knitting. She says,
Yeah.
I love to feel it so much that I just knit so that I can feel it. I just keep buying yarn and fondling the yarn.
It's what I love about brick and mortar yarn stores is you just go in and you have to go like this on all this rows of yarn.
100%. 100%. I totally agree. And that's another reason why I tend not to carry any yarn that's not really nice and soft. I tend not to carry a crunchy Donegal. My Donegal tweed from Blue Sky Fibers is soft and lovely. And I just, because crunchy, then people get it. And then it's like, oh, this is crunchy, you know? But you just can't go wrong with yarn that feels scrumptious to touch. And I, personally, I like some of that little, that more harsh wool look, and feel. I'm not sensitive to wool, so I can wear it. But yeah, it's something that I just have kind of stayed away from for that reason. People aren't disappointed. They like to squeeze what do they call it? Squishy mail?
Yeah. Yeah. I have a ball of yarn that's lace weight that one of these days I'm going to use it, but it's a silk and yak combination. Oh, it's the softest yarn I've ever felt.
Oh, sounds divine.
And it's got a really dressy kind of shawl that I think would be perfect for cool summer evenings. On the East Coast, a cool summer evening is still mid-70s often.
Right.
But when the sun goes down and you're near the ocean, which we are, you want just a
Yeah.
little bit of something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that just sounds amazing. Yeah. Yeah. The new yarn that we got in, it's from Peru. It comes from Germany, but it's originated in the wool and everything, and the mill is in Peru. The Sayama, and it's 50 wool and 50 Highland wool and 50 llama. Oh, it's beautiful too. It's a nice DK to worsted weight, and it's just soft and oh, in fact, this is it right here. You can't really.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I was admiring that
Is
earlier.
nice definition in that.
Yeah, beautiful definition. And I've been waiting and waiting, and they keep
Nice.
back ordered. It's all back ordered for weeks and weeks, and it keeps getting pushed back. But I think I'm finally going to get some, maybe the middle of February. Get
What are you
restocked on it.
working with that? What are you making with that?
This is the start of what's called the Mix It Up scarf, which was the popular scarf. We did a knit along for it as well. I can give you the link.
I saw it on the Facebook page.
Yeah, the Facebook page, it was cute. I think that was, I'm not sure what color that was in. I wonder if they got the yarn. Here's the link to that. And it's well priced. It's not wildly expensive. It's just to me, it's just the Goldilocks of yarns. It's really lovely. But as you can see, I'm out. I've got some lavender, a little bit of lavender, and a couple in black. But I'll be restocked again. Beautiful colors. Yeah. Never ending,
Joy.
yarn.
Joy.
Yeah, joy.
Yeah.
That's right. Never ending joy for sure. And it just never, the possibilities and the beautiful yarn just never ends. So much fun.
I made your Jane's Way sweater or Janesville sweater.
Yeah.
I made it in the sort of a cascade yarn, and it was crunchy. But then I bought the kit, the time kit, and I'm starting that now, and it's much nicer to knit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not crunchy.
No,
It's
no.
it's lovely. It, oh, go ahead.
I had to block it, and it didn't come. It was still way too big in the cascade yarn that I made it in, and so I actually put it in the wash machine, and it came out perfect.
Oh, good. Good.
But
Oh, great.
I'll be curious to see how compare it to this Jane's Way,
Yeah.
or to the yarn that's included with your kit.
Yeah.
I
The
think
wool
that's
stock.
also blue sky, wool stock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's woolstock worsted. Yeah. Beautiful yarn.
Yeah.
And this is it's the worsted weight of
Right.
this, the
Right.
blue.
It's
the
much
dark.
feels much nicer to knit with.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really lovely.
A lot of the blue sky yarns are lovely. Wasn't that what there was the cowl that had the lifted stitches? I'm trying to remember what the name of that cowl was. But that was the first thing I ever ordered from you. And that yarn, it was so fine. It was pain in the neck, but it was such a joy to work with because it felt so good.
Oh, Metallico, was that it?
Yes, that was it. That was it.
Yeah, Metallico. See, I'm getting another. My next is the knit along after this one. I think it is a new, the pattern's not even out yet. It's a new one of those, you knit a panel and then you seam it and poncho it over your head, and it's got this beautiful lacy kind of a twisted border. Stunning.
Sounds nice.
I ordered the yarn for that just the other day. So you're talking about the Lexington probably, right?
That could be it.
I can look you up. Yeah, you got the Lexington Cal. Oh, beautiful colors too. Silver.
Yeah.
Yeah, rose and carnelian red. Yeah, that's a beautiful. I'm really partial to the linen stitch. I think it's just so much fun to knit something that looks like fabric. It looks like it's
Yeah.
been woven. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, and
Beautiful.
I wore that to church one week, and somebody said to me, "Oh, did you make that?" But they said that in the good way, not in the way like, "Oh, it looks."
Oh, did you
It's
make
like
that?
she's also a knitter, and so she recognized the look of something handmade.
Doesn't that feel good?
Yeah.
What are you supposed to say? You want it to look handmade, not homemade, or I forget what that
Yeah.
saying is. Is that what it is? Or is it
I think so.
You want it to look
Yeah.
handmade, not homemade? Okay.
That sounds like it's right. Yeah, yeah. Do you have any other questions?
Mm-mm.
No, I'm just
Everybody's
dying to get
good?
started.
I know it'll be there before Friday, I would say.
Oh, that's That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah,
I'm actually finishing
yeah.
up another project, so.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
fun to just talk about knitting.
Isn't it?
Mhm.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I'm thinking of, I'll ask you ladies, I'm thinking of holding maybe once a month, holding a knit along that's just where you can come and just ask questions of whatever. It's not that specific, not a specific item that we're knitting, but just come and ask questions. If I posted that in the Facebook group, would you join
Like a
sometime?
knitting open house.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
I like that. Yeah. I might not
Yeah.
do all of them, but I would come.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect, all of them, but at least if they were available, you could kind of drop in, drop
Right.
out, and just, okay.
So I love getting tips from other knitters. Like from 20 to 22, early 20 to the beginning of 22. My mother was living here during COVID and until she died. But we would sit around in the evening and knit. My husband wasn't retired yet, and so he was 100 miles away during the week and only here on weekends. And my mother and I would just sit around and knit and we talk a little bit, and then we would be quiet and just knit. We got so much knitting done.
Oh, that just really sounds lovely.
Yeah, sure does. Wow.
I wish my daughter knitted. That would be fun. Who doesn't?
I taught one of my grandsons when he was younger, and his father was not happy about it. So we had to stop, but he has now, since he has grown and he's 26, I think, he has started knitting again, and he's
Wow.
just going to town. He started on a sweater and he's just going with it. It
I
really
love
warms my heart to see him do that because it's such a relaxing and enjoying thing to do.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's also
I
good
saw
for
some-
mathematics. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, it's very logical. I think that's what I like about it too.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
contemplative and logical,
Yeah.
and you can figure it out, you know, if you work
Mhm.
long enough at it and make sure the numbers match and all that kind of stuff.
Mm,
And you can be creative or,
Yes.
as much as you
Yeah.
want, little or a lot,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
saw
agree.
something recently where there's some big sports star who knits.
oh,
And then,
Well,
Rosie
Tom,
Greer is sort of the famous
Rosie
one.
Greer,
The
yeah.
football
yeah,
player,
he did
Rosie
knit
There's a
Greer.
British diver who knits all the time.
Ro-
yeah,
Tom
yeah,
Daly or something like that. Yeah.
Rosie Greer
Tom
did
Daly
needlepoint.
yeah,
What's that?
You were
Tom
telling
Day.
somebody mentioned Rosie Greer. He did needlepoint.
Oh, did
But I
he?
thought he also
wow.
knit. At least that's what I was told. But yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
wow.
And Tom Daly, he knits like crazy knits. I mean, like a lot.
Mm,
Yeah.
And he's very creative, he's very proficient. It's impressive.
yeah. It's such a
Is it?
relaxing thing to do. I mean, when I come home from work, that's the first thing I do, sit down and knit, just to unwind.
Mhm.
So it's great.
It's really amazing how it does that to you,
Yeah,
and how it's like, you can kind of just, I feel myself like I got to get my hands on it, and then I can just feel that tension. Yeah.
that's right. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
And do you know that I think it was like Middle Ages, I think it was only men who could knit. Women were not allowed when it used to be a profession. And of course, men were telling the women what to do. And so it was a man's thing. It's funny how it's switched and now it's a women's thing, kind of. I mean, not entirely, obviously, but it's more thought of as a woman's thing. It's ridiculous. It doesn't have to be a man
No,
or a woman's thing.
that's right. That's right.
Just a fun thing.
So what age do you think is my partner has a granddaughter who just turned 5, and I have friends who say that they started knitting, at the age of 5 or 6. Do you think that's a
Yeah.
good age?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I was I 6 or 7? I was
Young.
probably just slightly older, but I could have been younger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I taught another little girl who was, I think she was 5 when I was teaching her. And, she was precocious and, and really motivated. She really wanted to learn. But I think at the Waldorf schools, knitting is part of their curriculum. And I think they start them in really like 4, 5, they start
Really?
them.
Oh.
Yeah, I think so.
So what
Yeah.
size needles? Would you go with larger needles and chunky yarn, or?
Not too chunky because,
Mm.
yeah, if it's too chunky, it's hard for their little hands to get around. I'd say maybe a 6, 7, 8, somewhere, maybe an 8, 7 or
That's
an
the
8.
age. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
And if she doesn't like it, put it
Yeah.
aside and try again
Yeah.
in a few years.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I was about 8 when my grandmother and a great aunt showed me how to knit. And then a few years later, they tried to teach my sister because she was interested, and couldn't get it. The stuff
Mm.
she knitted was all so tight, and it was just all scrunched up and
Yeah.
like it looked like it was knotted. instead. But she crochets, and I've never, I mean, I've done
Yeah.
crocheted edgings, but I've never learned how to do Afghans and things.
Mm.
Yeah, my grandmother was a crocheter. But and I have to admit to some of that snobbery, that knitting's more difficult with quotation marks around it. So
Yeah.
supposedly, right?
It depends on what it is, but for sweaters and things, I prefer the look of knitting.
Yeah.
But for an Afghan, there's some crocheted Afghans that are, I mean, particularly the classic granny square. There can be some really pretty granny square. Even Blue Sky Fibers has this really beautiful scarf that's granny squares, and it's crocheted. It's really pretty. Yeah, really pretty. I haven't put any crochet in the shop, even though people ask me all the time because it's so popular. It's become, it's gotten such a resurgence. But I tried a little bit of it and it didn't go over real good. And I think I just need to stick to knitting and not try to be. I don't need to be a Joann's and be a store that caters to every craft, every needle craft.
Well, I think I'm going to jump off.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say ciao. And thank you so much for hopping on. And I apologize for the time.
No worries.
That was anyway.
Everything's good. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. It was nice meeting
Yeah.
you.
Really nice meeting you. We'll see you next time.
Yep.
Okay. Bye.
Okay,
Good
bye-bye.
luck. Good luck, everybody.
Thanks.
All right.